Now before we go ahead and attach our top, some people at this point like to router the outside corners. This gives the blanket chest a softer look to have those rounded edges. If you're wanting to do this, you will want to do this before we attach the top. Additionally, some people like to router a roundover down towards the feet of the blanket chest. Again, this will give it a little softer appearance. I am going for more of a boxy square look, so I'm not going to do that on this project. Now that our hinge has been installed to the base with 3 screws, we're going to attach it to the top also with 3 screws. To do this, I'm going to tip the blanket chest back. I'm going to put a piece of scrap wood under each side. This should raise the blanket chest up enough for us to slide the top up and be able to maneuver that hinge. However, make sure that this is the bottom of the top, that it is not the part that we did our finish sanding on that we want everybody to see, because this is going to close and that will be facing the inside of our blanket chest. So we want our good side facing the tabletop. We can slide our top back and forth and make sure that we have a 1/2 inch overhang on each side. And after we have that 1/2 inch overhang, we can adjust the top in the hinge until we are following our reference line. Again, we want that reference line or that cut into the hinge to be flush with the back edge of our project. So because we're attaching the top, it will be flush with the back edge of the top. After ensuring we have a 1/2 inch overhang and we've lined up our reference line, we can drill our pilot hole through our top. Be very careful you do not drill too deep, or you will drill through the top of the top and you'll see it on the outside of your project. After you've drilled your pilot holes, you can install those 3 screws by hand. After we have our 3 screws installed on the base and 3 screws installed on the top, we can flip up our project and inspect the installation of the top. If I take a look at the back where my top meets the back surface, I want it to be fairly flush. On this particular one, there is about a 1/64 of an inch overhang, which isn't that big of a deal. I could, if I wanted to, go back and take out one of the screws, readjust the hinge, re-drill a pilot hole, reinstall the screw, and see if that fixes the problem. Because the difference is so insignificant on this one, I'm calling it good. On the other side, however, I didn't do as good of a job. My top sits in about a 1/16 of an inch. To fix this, I'm going to loosen my screw. When I close the lid, I can now maneuver that lid back to where it needs to go. So I know that the hinge needs to slide back just slightly. As I slide it back, I'm going to re-drill a pilot hole in a different hole location and then install a new screw. Now when I take a look, I am flush on the back. If everything lines up and functions correctly, you can drill pilot holes in all the rest of the holes and install screws in all the rest of the holes for the hinge.